Hello, my name is Paul Beddings. Let's talk photos. So last week I talked about leaving Nairobi and heading to Somalia in a DC-3. You can check out that video in the link below. In this video, I'm going to talk about photographing at a cholera treatment center. The area that we were going to was dealing with a cholera outbreak, and looking at this photo, you can sort of see how water can get contaminated. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of animals, there's a lot of mud. Now, seeing a water point like this doesn't necessarily mean the water is contaminated, but in this particular case, there was something within the system that the water was running through that was causing the contamination. There are a few images from this center that are stuck in my brain. A couple of them are on my website, and I think a lot of them deserve their own videos because I can talk at length about them. But for now, I'm just going to talk about these few images. This woman was in the center when I arrived. Her daughter had cholera and she had come to the treatment center with her husband. The building she was staying in, this one here that you see in this image, had been ruined by past conflict in the area between the local government and some rebel groups. And you can see here that where there once were walls, there's now just sort of a big room. I'm not even sure if this building was safe. I don't even know how this building was standing. When I arrived at this treatment center and we were standing around trying to figure out who we were going to talk to and who wanted to be photographed, there was a man who came in the front gate and he was being pushed by his family in a wheelbarrow. And that was the only way they had to get him to the treatment center. I don't know how far away they came from, and I was unsure how long he had been in there, but that sort of set the tone for what we were to expect for the rest of the day. The entire time, I run into this quite a bit actually, the entire time I was there, I wanted to help, like physically help these people by pushing the wheelbarrow or carrying them into their rooms. And I did help a few times. I sort of put down my camera and made sure I was of some assistance. But in the end, my conflict here is my job is to take photos and to tell these stories. And that's how I can really help. But in the moment, you feel you want to be of real assistance. So there's always a conflict I run into between should I be taking a photo of this scenario or should I put down my camera and actually help a person walk or get to a door or pick up a bag of rice and bring it to them through their front door. So this is something I'm always struggling with, but in this case, I took on both roles, put down my camera a few times and tried to get as many photos as I could. The building she is staying in here had been destroyed by past conflict. So these here are called cholera beds. It's a cot with a hole in it, and that's because people are unable to control their bowels. So there's a hole in it so that their waste can just fall through into a bucket on the ground. To get these photos, I remember sitting crouched in this spot for about half an hour. Through a translator, I had asked this woman if it was okay to take her photo, and she did give me permission, but I still felt like I was invading her privacy. And as I often think in these scenarios, I'm sure I would not want my photo taken if I were in her shoes. But again, I had to remember I was there to tell this story. And as I sat there, I tried to make even just a small connection with her to build some trust and just make sure it was okay to capture some images. The blown out walls were giving me a very interesting perspective. You can see that there's 3 rooms here that are now connected because the walls were ruined. There's a woman here, there's a woman here, and you can see another woman back here. The mattresses here you can see are just thin mattresses or mats. The cholera beds themselves are pretty rough as well. So this space now, she was sitting over in this corner over here. You can see this is the broken wall here. So she was sitting back in this corner. The door would be over here, and that's how I'm lighting up this shot. This, from what I could gather, was her husband, and they had just put in the IV, and he was hanging the bag of saline solution on a nail that was on the wall. This entire scene was quite intense. I could hear a lot of chatter outside and a lot of talking and commotion, people coming in and out and walking past, and horns honking, there was cars going by. But in this room, somehow there was a calmness that just surrounded this woman, and I found it quite interesting. And that led to this final shot that I want to show here. This, to me, represents that calmness that she felt. There was an aloneness. Her husband was there, but he was running around trying to get her stuff and bring stuff in and make sure everything was okay. And she would just sit here and care for her baby. And I just found it an incredible scene. You can see that she's trying to give her baby some water. She sat here like this for another 2 or 3 hours, and then once the saline solution was done, they took it off the wall. They unhooked the IV from the baby, and she sat there who knows how long. I said bye to her when we had finished photographing and left, and I don't know how long she was there. I took this photo over a decade ago, and I can still put myself right back into this room when I look at this image. I remember the smells. I remember seeing the worry in this mother's face. I remember seeing the confusion on her face, trying to figure out what was happening. And I feel this image sort of captures that relationship that she had with her child. And she's just the idea that she'll sit there and take care of this baby in this blown out room amongst the rubble with the most rudimentary equipment you can get. But as long as her baby gets healthy, then all that other stuff doesn't matter. Thanks for watching part 2 of my photo story from Somalia. Check out part 1 if you missed it. You can find it in a link below. Please like, share, and subscribe below. And thanks for watching. Cheers.